and welcome to episode 3 of Walk, Paint, Relax with myself, Paul. Episode 3 I changed a bit, so it was going to be like a waterfall, that kind of scenario, listening to the sound of a waterfall, which I have recorded, so I will put that on. But I decided I wanted to do a bike ride, long bike ride from here to Lund, which is about 10 kilometres, and then take the train up to Helsingborg, which is about 50 kilometres, then to visit the Dunker's Art Gallery, then sit by the harbour at a cafe and paint the harbour, and then get the ferry over to Helsingor, which is about 3 kilometres over the sea to Denmark, and then cycle down the coast to Copenhagen, which is about 50 kilometres. Yeah, I'm still learning, so there's a few things that I need to change. One of the reasons I'm doing it obviously is to learn, because I'm doing an art education, a degree in Manchester. But another reason is because I'm quite concerned with mental health. That's one of the paths that I'm heading towards, is art therapy. So these are designed for people to kind of be able to meditate and relax, to be something interesting to watch, and to kind of maybe build a community of people that can really kind of connect in the sense of, not because there's a lot of videos out there where it's just a camera pointed at in a woodland, or which are great, you know what I mean, they really help, but I think you lose that connection with other people then. And I think part of this is that you can join in with the painting, you can see the journey. I've not put a lot of the journeys in there because I just think the quality of the equipment hasn't quite been there, so I'm improving that. It's costing me a little bit more money to do, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. But hopefully, you know, by the time I get to episode 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on, and certainly by the time I get to episode 8, that it'll be a product that people can put on. It's got high quality sounds of nature, whether that's the sea, whether it's waterfall, whether it's the wind in the trees or the birds, etc. But also that I'm there kind of with you, and so if you're watching it, you know, we're kind of doing it together. So I will pass you over to Paul in the past. Paul. So we're heading off very shortly. Get everything I need, got the helmet, bag, all the supplies, and we should be stopping off along the way to do some paints and stuff. So let's get off. okay because I know that just for the time being until the next train. I don't think it's for another 10 minutes, so we'll see. But I need to check the times on my phone. See you soon. Helsingborg is one of Sweden's largest cities with a population of around about 113,000 residents and is located on the west coast of Sweden in the southern county of Skåne. It is around 60 kilometers north of Malmö and just under 4 kilometers east over the Öresund Sea from the town of Helsingor in Denmark. A ferry run by the company Sea runs several times a day between Helsingor and Helsingborg. You can travel across by car, by bike or foot, and the cost is around about €6 if you're going by bike or foot, or from €27 by car. Helsingborg's history stretches back to the Viking Age. The important location where Öresund is at its narrowest has given the city a strategic position for a long time. In the Middle Ages, the city and its castle were one of the most powerful strongholds in the Nordic region, and thus involved many of the powerful games of that time. Helsingborg today is a vibrant city with connections via train, car and bus to most of Sweden. Places to visit include Dunker's Art Gallery just to the north of the centre, the castle just slightly east of the centre, and Väla's shopping centre to the northeast. It's warm here. You're back. But I need to find Dunkers, which is a music of sorts. Bird.
Got a little bit of wood space. Lamb there in the tree, which is green. That's Helsingor where we're going to in a bit. Clouds in the horizon. This is white, not green. Very green because I can't separate the colours. And we've got a bit of a white, a black, a bit of black now. A bit more white, a bit more getting into grey. And we've got a hardy kind of look to it. Here. Really difficult to see when it's so windy. Take you on. This is a really rough. Looking. And my phone's very low battery, so I'm going to need to plug it in. When I check it most of the time, I'll be live on that. But then my battery's almost dead, so I'll have to put it in. I'm going to get going now. Hopefully pops it on to the car now. Then it'll be exciting now.
outside Dunker's Art Gallery in Helsingborg. I don't know how feasible it is to go in and record. I'm suspecting it's not. There's police there, look. Oh dear. But I'm gonna attempt to do something with it, so we'll see what I'll do. Let us attempt to get to the ferry. So, my bike is that's my bike there.
Helsingor lies just under 4 kilometres west of the Swedish city of Helsingborg, and as stated previously, it is possible to travel between Sweden and Denmark via ferry through these two towns. It is almost 50 kilometres north of Denmark's capital, Copenhagen, which also houses an airport and a ferry port, and is accessible by train, bus, car, and of course, as I'm proving today, by bike. Helsingor is mentioned for the first time as a market town in 1231 in King Valdemar's Jordebog. Over the coming centuries, Helsingor became dependent on shipping, and despite war, calamity, and even the plague of 1710, foreign ideas and inventions quickly came to Helsingor, thanks to the contact with foreign merchants and sailors. This can be seen, amongst other things, in the buildings in the area. These days, Helsingor is a bustling little market town full of cafes, restaurants, bars and shops, and its main attractions are Kronborg Castle near the port, the Öresunds Aquarium and the Technical Museum of Denmark. Just stopped off here, just down the coast from Helsingor, and I saw a gallery there. As you can see inside, there is const art. It seems like you can see so much there. I'm not going to go in, but it's just kind of beautiful area. Cycle lanes, as you can see, just like in Sweden. There's more cycle lanes in Denmark, believe it or not, than there is in Sweden. Hello. So, I had a few technical problems with the sound here. It was so windy that the sound was kind of drowned out. And effectively, what I talk about is the painting that I'm doing. So there's a view which you see now across to Helsingor and to Helsingborg. There's like white buildings with trees just behind them. It's a little bit more difficult to see on this shot as I'm looking at it. There's a little rock in the sea. So what basically do is painting in the sky first, and then little bits of clouds on the horizon, and then to the left is like some bushes with some pink flowers. Then there's the grass in front of that with some kind of dark, very very dark green shade there. And then obviously you've got the sea there with the waves. One of the difficult things was with how windy it is, because it's on the coast, just as I did at the cafe, it was so difficult to paint with that wind. But these are all learning curves. I'd say this whole project, apart from the fact of, giving people a platform and something to help with mental health and give people something to join in with, like the painting, for example. Because I do encourage people to get a pad out, whether it's acrylics, whether it's gouache, whether it's watercolours, even if it's oils, or drawing, coloured pencils or black and white pencils. Absolutely fine. You do what you feel comfortable with, and paint with me. Now, as I say, I'm learning. From this first 3 episodes, the amount I have learned is phenomenal. And I'm looking to put everything right by the 4th episode. So the 4th episode, 4th, 5th, and potentially 6th episode, they're going to be a bike. It's a bike ride, but it's an electric bike I've got. And I'm going to cycle just down the road. There's a view across Derby that you've not seen yet. I'm going to do it on time lapse because I've done a little bit on time lapse, and it just looks. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But there's a few things that I've kind of come across. One is that there's a lot of wind on my recordings, and what happens is that the wind is kind of drowning out the noise of the nature. It is nice to hear a bit of the wind occasionally, but not all the time. I'm also conscious that what I don't want to do is short spurts of sound, of recorded nature, and then just duplicate it over and over again, and I think that defeats the object. I think there's a little bit of that going on in my first 2 that I did, and that was part of the learning. So I have ordered a sound recorder, effectively, and a wind muff. So the plan would be to record the sounds of nature, and actually get decent quality recordings, and actually listen to the recordings there and then to see is it what I feel is needed. Because what I've done is I listen to some of these recordings when I go to sleep, and I can tell whether they work or not. And I'm not quite there yet. I've woke up in the middle of the night last night listening to this one with the seagulls, and there's something with the seagulls. I think it's about a 10-minute clip that I've basically duplicated. You can hear them in the background here. It's what I recorded in Helsingborg, but there's certain aspects of it sound a little bit screamy, seagulls, and I think if I'd heard that at the time I would have re-recorded different locations as well. But I need this audio recorder, which is coming soon. Another thing is because I was doing live streams, I was trying to work out the best way. I did live stream on Twitch, which I did on my phone. Yes, as it says there, it's very difficult to paint when it's so windy. I recorded it on I did it on Twitch on my phone, but I did it portrait so that there's 2 things. That first of all, because I wasn't using a recording device, because I was on the bike, I used the live stream, which I thought was going to be the same quality. Now I've come to download the files off Twitch. The quality is nothing like what it should be. I want 4K recordings, really. So the first thing I need to do is, one, when I record straight to the device, not straight to Twitch. I've got another phone I'm going to use, which I'm going to use separately for live Twitch, and I'm not going to use the recordings off there. And I also need to make sure that I use it on landscape mode as well when I do record, because it's landscape now, as you can see, but as soon as I finish this, and I pick it up and I spin it round, and you've got these black borders on the left and right hand side, and it just doesn't really work. So that's another thing that I've learned. Also live streaming a little bit on my iPad on Instagram, which was quite good, but that was quite difficult to do as well, but still relevant and still works. But I think I don't want to get the recordings from anything that's done live. the live streams are purely for that, live streams, but I need to record using my camera. I also use my phone a little bit and a little bit on my iPad, but directly to the device. I've also got a drone, which I'm going to try and use a little bit more. I only use it a little bit on this because I don't have a license to fly it in Sweden, in Denmark, sorry. I can fly it in Sweden, not in Denmark. And also it was so windy, even though it has resistance to wind, I had a feeling it might just blow out into the ocean and I'd never see it again. So I will be making improvements, and you should see a massive improvements, and especially the 8-hour live ones. What I want to get is a good couple of hours of recording, so it's all unique. Yeah, 8 hours is a long time to just record that, so it may be that this split 2 hours times 4, with kind of 4K recording of the area that I'm painting in. So just finishing off the painting here. I say it was very difficult to actually paint, but I've effectively got the basics of what we can see there. Another thing that I need to be aware of is when I'm saying I'm going to be painting this, you need to see what I'm painting, and you can see it a little bit, but there's a great big bike break, as you can see there on the left hand side. And I tried to cut that out so that wasn't in the shot, but that meant stretching the rest of it, and that just made the quality impossible. So I have shown you the painting there, which I think was a good idea. And again, that's just the basic of it. I've painted a little bit more of it now. I think what I will start to do at the end of it is show you what I've done after I've got home, when I've finished it off, and to give you a shot of what that looks like. I hope that helps. And I'm going to get on my bike now on this, and I get cycle down into Copenhagen. I've not put a lot of the footage on because it's all like this, kind of like letterbox kind of style. I know it's not letterbox, but you know, it's slim. And it's also very bumpy. Not very good image stabilization on this, but these are things I'm going to put right over the coming weeks. So I hope to see you in future episodes. For now, I hope you enjoy the bits of cycling to Copenhagen, and certainly cycling in Copenhagen, which was an experience and a half. And I leave you to enjoy that. Thank you.
Hey, can I have latte, please? Take away, obviously. Right, I'm disconnecting now until I get on the train. And then I might reconnect on the train. See you soon. Bye-bye, very, 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 very full train. It's actually not bad further back. Right. So I'm going to finish the broadcast here. Don't think I'll broadcast anymore. I'm just going to have my coffee and a Snickers bar just to give me some energy, and then I'm going to head back. So thanks for watching. For anybody that did watch or is watching or will watch when I put it onto YouTube, and watch the space for the next one. I'll be doing one in the next couple of weeks again. I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much. Cue music.